In a small, quiet town nestled in the southern part of the United States, there lived a young black girl named Maya. Her story began when she was just 5 years old, a time when most children are carefree and full of wonder. But for Maya, life took an unexpected turn. She had been adopted by the Carters, a wealthy white family who promised her a bright future filled with opportunities. At first glance, it seemed like a dream come true. The Carters lived in a grand house with sprawling gardens, expensive cars parked in the driveway, and a lifestyle that many would envy. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect life lay a harsh reality that Maya would soon discover. The Carters were not ordinary adoptive parents. While they appeared loving and generous to outsiders, their treatment of Maya was far from kind. From the very beginning, they made it clear that she was expected to earn her place in their home. They saw her as someone they could mold into their ideal child, someone who would reflect their values and status. But Maya was her own person, bright, curious, and eager to learn. And this didn't always align with their rigid expectations. Instead of nurturing her individuality, the Carters tried to suppress it, demanding perfection in every aspect of her life. Maya worked hard to meet their impossibly high standards. She studied late into the night, determined to get straight A's in school. She helped around the house without being asked, cleaning, cooking, and even taking care of their dogs. Despite her efforts, nothing seemed good enough for the Carters. If she brought home a report card with 1 B instead of all A's, they scolded her mercilessly. If she accidentally broke a dish while washing up, they called her clumsy and careless. Over time, these constant criticisms chipped away at Maya's self-esteem. She started believing that she wasn't smart enough, strong enough, or worthy of love. As Maya grew older, the pressure mounted. By the time she reached her teenage years, the Carters' behavior had escalated from verbal abuse to something more sinister. One fateful evening, after bringing home a report card with a single B in math, Maya found herself facing her adoptive father's wrath. He stormed into the living room, his face red with anger, clutching the report card in his hand. "You're a failure," he shouted, his voice echoing through the house. "We took you in, gave you everything, and this is how you repay us?" Maya stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. She wanted to explain that she had worked so hard, that math was difficult for her despite her best efforts, but no words came out. Her adoptive mother watched silently from the doorway, shaking her head in disappointment. "You'll never amount to anything," she said coldly, her tone cutting deeper than any knife. And then, in a moment that would haunt Maya for years to come, her adoptive father dragged her outside to the backyard. There, under the dim light of the porch, he tied her to a wooden pole near the garden shed. The rope dug into her wrists as he tightened it, leaving her unable to move. The night air was chilly and Maya shivered, not just from the cold, but from the overwhelming sense of betrayal and fear. She cried out, pleading with them to let her go, but they ignored her. For hours she remained there, humiliated and heartbroken, listening to the distant sound of crickets chirping and leaves rustling in the wind. It felt like an eternity before they finally untied her and sent her to bed without a word of apology. That night changed Maya forever. As she lay in her dark bedroom staring at the ceiling, she realized that she couldn't stay in this toxic environment any longer. The Carters didn't see her as their daughter. They saw her as a project, a reflection of their own ego. Their love was conditional, dependent on her ability to meet their impossible standards. But deep down, Maya knew she deserved better. She vowed to escape this life, to prove to herself and to them that she was capable of greatness. That night, a fire ignited within her, a determination to rise above her circumstances and create a future where she could truly belong. Despite the pain and trauma she endured, Maya refused to let it define her. She began dreaming of a life beyond the Carters' control, imagining a world where she could be free to pursue her passions and build meaningful relationships. School became her sanctuary, a place where she could focus on her studies and envision a brighter tomorrow. Teachers noticed her intelligence and work ethic, often praising her for her dedication. Though the Carters continued to belittle her at home, Maya held on to the belief that education was her ticket to freedom. Her classmates, unaware of the turmoil she faced at home, admired her resilience. Maya rarely spoke about her struggles, choosing instead to channel her energy into achieving her goals. She joined extracurricular activities, participated in debates, and volunteered at local community centers. These experiences helped her develop confidence and a sense of purpose. Slowly but surely, Maya began to realize that she was stronger than the people who sought to break her spirit. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving, even if it was in small, quiet ways. By the time Maya turned 16, she had formulated a plan. She saved every penny she earned from babysitting and odd jobs, knowing that one day she would need money to leave the Carters behind. She also confided in a trusted teacher, Mrs. Anderson, who became a source of guidance and support. Mrs. Anderson encouraged Maya to apply for scholarships and explore opportunities outside of her hometown. "You have so much potential," Mrs. Anderson told her during one of their secret meetings after school. "Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." With Mrs. Anderson's help, Maya began researching colleges and universities that offered financial aid to students in need. She spent countless nights filling out applications, writing essays, and preparing for entrance exams. Each step brought her closer to her goal of independence. Though the thought of leaving everything familiar behind was daunting, Maya knew it was necessary. She couldn't continue living in a place where she was treated as less than human. She longed for a life where she could be valued for who she truly was, not for what others wanted her to be. As her 18th birthday approached, Maya felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. She was ready to embark on a new chapter, but the scars of her past still lingered. The memory of being tied to that pole haunted her, a painful reminder of the cruelty she had endured. Yet, it also fueled her determination to succeed. Maya understood that her journey wouldn't be easy, but she was willing to face whatever challenges lay ahead. She had learned to draw strength from her pain, using it as motivation to push forward. On the day she turned 18, Maya packed her belongings into a duffel bag and left the Carter household for good. She didn't say goodbye to her adoptive parents. There was no point. They had already made it clear that they viewed her as a failure, someone unworthy of their love. But Maya knew the truth. She was anything but a failure. She was a survivor, a fighter, and a dreamer. And as she walked away from the only home she had ever known, she carried with her the hope of a brighter future, a future where she could redefine success on her own terms. Little did she know her journey was just beginning, and the best was yet to come. Leaving the Carter household was both liberating and terrifying for Maya. With her duffel bag slung over her shoulder and a heart full of mixed emotions, she stepped into the unknown. The first few days were overwhelming. She had nowhere to go, no family to turn to, and very little money saved up from years of odd jobs. Thankfully, Mrs. Anderson, her compassionate teacher who had become a mentor, offered her temporary shelter. Mrs. Anderson lived in a modest apartment on the outskirts of town, and though space was limited, she welcomed Maya with open arms. At first, Maya felt like an intruder in Mrs. Anderson's home. She tried to keep to herself, sleeping on the couch and helping out around the house as much as possible. But Mrs. Anderson wouldn't let her fade into the background. "You're not a burden, Maya," she said one evening while they shared dinner at the small kitchen table. "You've been through so much, and now it's time for you to focus on building the life you deserve." Her words brought tears to Maya's eyes, not tears of sadness, but of gratitude. For the first time in years, someone believed in her unconditionally. While staying with Mrs. Anderson, Maya worked tirelessly to get back on her feet. During the day, she juggled 2 part-time jobs, one at a local cafe and another cleaning offices late at night. It wasn't glamorous work, but it paid the bills and gave her a sense of independence. At night, she studied for her high school equivalency exams, determined to earn the diploma that would unlock doors to higher education. Despite her grueling schedule, Maya refused to give up. Every hour spent studying or working brought her closer to her dreams. Her hard work eventually paid off, After months of preparation, Maya passed her equivalency exams with flying colors. Holding the certificate in her hands, she felt a surge of pride, unlike anything she'd ever experienced. This was proof that she could achieve great things, even when the odds were stacked against her. Encouraged by this milestone, she applied to several community colleges, hoping to pursue a degree in business administration, a field that fascinated her because of its potential to create real-world impact. To her delight, one of the colleges accepted her application and offered her a partial scholarship based on her academic performance. Though the financial aid didn't cover all her expenses, it was enough to make college affordable. Maya moved into a tiny studio apartment near campus, furnished with second-hand items donated by Mrs. Anderson and other kind-hearted friends. It wasn't luxurious, but it was hers, a place where she could finally breathe freely without fear of judgment or mistreatment. College life proved challenging but rewarding. Maya quickly discovered that balancing work, studies, and personal responsibilities wasn't easy. Many nights she stayed up until the early hours of the morning completing assignments or preparing for exams. There were moments when exhaustion threatened to overwhelm her, but she reminded herself why she was doing this: to break free from the limitations imposed on her by the Carters and to build a future where she could thrive. Her professors noticed her dedication and often praised her for her insightful contributions in class discussions. During her second year of college, Maya joined a student entrepreneurship club, which opened her eyes to the world of startups and innovation. She attended workshops, listened to guest speakers, and participated in brainstorming sessions about solving societal problems through creative solutions. One idea particularly resonated with her: creating affordable educational resources for underserved communities. Growing up, Maya had seen firsthand how lack of access to quality education held people back. Now she wanted to do something about it. Inspired by this vision, Maya began developing a business plan for an online platform that would provide free or low-cost tutoring services to students in need. She envisioned a system where volunteers, from teachers to retired professionals, could offer their expertise remotely, reaching children who might otherwise fall through the cracks. The concept excited her, but turning it into reality required more than just passion. It needed funding, technical expertise, and a solid strategy. This is where Ethan came into her life. He was a fellow student in the entrepreneurship club, known for his sharp mind and charismatic personality. From the moment they met, there was an instant connection between them. They bonded over shared values and a desire to use business as a force for good. Ethan admired Maya's resilience and determination, qualities he recognized as rare and invaluable. In turn, Maya appreciated Ethan's optimism and ability to see possibilities where others saw obstacles. Together, they decided to collaborate on bringing Maya's idea to life. While Maya focused on designing the platform and reaching out to potential partners, Ethan handled the technical aspects such as coding and website development. Their partnership blossomed into friendship, and soon it evolved into something deeper. Late-night study sessions turned into heartfelt conversations, and before long they realized they had fallen in love. Despite their busy schedules, they made time for each other, supporting one another through the ups and downs of college life. Their relationship became a source of strength for Maya. For the first time, she experienced what it meant to be truly loved and accepted for who she was. Ethan never judged her for her past or doubted her abilities. Instead, he celebrated her successes and encouraged her during tough times. His unwavering belief in her gave her the confidence to push beyond her comfort zone and take risks she might have otherwise avoided. As their project gained momentum, Maya and Ethan faced numerous challenges. Convincing investors to back their venture was no easy task. Many dismissed them as inexperienced students with lofty ideals, telling them their idea was too ambitious. Rejection after rejection tested their resolve, but they refused to give up. They revised their pitch, refined their prototype, and continued knocking on doors until someone finally said yes. That someone was Sarah Chen, a prominent venture capitalist known for supporting socially conscious startups. Sarah saw potential in Maya and Ethan's vision and agreed to fund their project. With her support, they launched their platform, naming it LearnLink. Within months, LearnLink gained traction, attracting thousands of users across the country. Students struggling with math found tutors willing to help. Teachers eager to share their knowledge signed up as volunteers. The platform's success exceeded even Maya's wildest expectations, earning recognition in tech circles and media outlets alike. Maya's transformation was remarkable. Once labeled a failure by the Carters, she was now being hailed as a rising star in the world of entrepreneurship. Awards and accolades poured in, but what mattered most to her was the difference she was making in people's lives. Through LearnLink, she was giving others the opportunities she had fought so hard to secure for herself. And alongside her professional achievements, her personal life flourished. She and Ethan got engaged, planning a future together built on mutual respect and shared dreams. Despite her newfound success, Maya never forgot where she came from. The memory of being tied to that pole in the Carters' backyard remained etched in her mind, serving as a reminder of how far she had come. But instead of letting bitterness consume her, she chose to channel her pain into purpose. She began speaking publicly about her experiences, sharing her story with audiences at conferences and events. Her message was simple yet powerful. No matter how dark things may seem, hope and perseverance can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Maya's journey inspired countless individuals, especially young people facing adversity. She received letters from teenagers in foster care, adoptees dealing with difficult families, and students battling self-doubt. Each message touched her deeply, reinforcing her belief that everyone deserves a chance to shine. Determined to pay it forward, she established a non-profit organization called Rise Together, aimed at supporting youth in similar situations. Through scholarships, mentorship programs, and advocacy initiatives, Rise Together provided resources and encouragement to those in need. By the end of her college years, Maya had transformed from a scared, broken girl into a confident, driven woman. Her scars, both visible and invisible, were badges of honor, symbols of her resilience. She knew the road ahead wouldn't always be smooth, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay in store. With Ethan by her side, a thriving business under her belt, and a mission to uplift others, Maya stood poised to conquer the world. What the Carters had once deemed a failure had blossomed into a triumph beyond measure, proving that true strength lies not in perfection but in the courage to rise above adversity. Maya's life was beginning to take shape in ways she had once only dreamed of. With LearnLink gaining traction and her relationship with Ethan growing stronger, she felt a sense of purpose that had eluded her for so long. But success didn't come without its challenges. Running a startup while balancing college coursework tested her limits daily. There were sleepless nights spent debugging software glitches, endless meetings with potential partners, and moments when self-doubt crept in. Yet through it all, Maya refused to give up. She reminded herself of the little girl who had been tied to a pole and told she would never amount to anything. That memory fueled her determination to prove the Carters wrong and to show herself that she was capable of greatness. Ethan played a crucial role in keeping Maya grounded during these intense times. He wasn't just her business partner, he was her rock. When stress threatened to overwhelm her, he'd pull her away from her laptop for a walk around campus or cook her favorite meal to lift her spirits. "We're in this together," he'd say, his voice steady and reassuring. Their bond deepened as they navigated the highs and lows of entrepreneurship side by side. Together, they celebrated small victories, a new user signing up, positive feedback from a teacher using the platform, and leaned on each other during setbacks. One such setback came when LearnLink faced technical issues shortly after its launch. The platform crashed unexpectedly, leaving hundreds of students unable to access their tutoring sessions. Complaints poured in, and Maya felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. For days, she barely slept, working alongside Ethan and their small team to identify and fix the problem. It was a humbling experience, one that taught her the importance of resilience and adaptability. Once the issue was resolved, Maya made sure to implement better safeguards to prevent future crashes. This incident also strengthened her leadership skills as she learned how to communicate openly with users, apologize sincerely, and turn a crisis into an opportunity for growth. As LearnLink continued to grow, Maya began to attract attention beyond her immediate circle. Local newspapers wrote articles about her journey, highlighting how a young woman who had overcome immense adversity was now making waves in the tech industry. These stories brought both pride and pressure. On one hand, Maya was grateful for the recognition. It validated her hard work and inspired others facing similar struggles. On the other hand, she worried about being reduced to her traumatic past. She didn't want people to see her solely as the girl who had been mistreated by her adoptive family. She wanted them to recognize her achievements and potential. To counteract this, Maya focused on amplifying her message of empowerment. In interviews and public speaking engagements, she emphasized the importance of perseverance, education, and community support. She shared anecdotes from her own life but always framed them within the context of hope and transformation. Her authenticity resonated with audiences, earning her invitations to speak at conferences and universities across the country. Each speech reinforced her belief that vulnerability could be a source of strength. By sharing her story, she not only healed parts of herself but also encouraged others to embrace their own journeys, no matter how difficult. Meanwhile, Maya's personal life flourished alongside her professional endeavors. She and Ethan decided to move in together, renting a cozy apartment near campus. It was far from luxurious. The furniture was mismatched, and the walls needed a fresh coat of paint, but it felt like home. For the first time in her life, Maya experienced what it meant to live in a space filled with love and mutual respect. Ethan supported her dreams unconditionally, celebrating her successes and comforting her during tough times. In return, Maya admired his optimism and creativity, qualities that complemented her drive and discipline. Their relationship wasn't without its challenges, of course. Balancing work, school, and romance required constant communication and compromise. There were disagreements about priorities. Ethan sometimes pushed Maya to take breaks while she insisted on pushing forward, but these conflicts ultimately strengthened their partnership. They learned to navigate differences with patience and understanding, building a foundation of trust that would serve them well in the years to come. By her final year of college, Maya's efforts began paying off in significant ways. LearnLink had expanded its reach, partnering with schools and nonprofit organizations to provide resources to underserved communities nationwide. The platform's user base grew exponentially, attracting attention from major investors eager to scale the business further. One day, Maya received an email from Sarah Chen, the venture capitalist who had initially funded LearnLink. Sarah invited her and Ethan to present their progress at a prestigious tech summit in Silicon Valley, an opportunity that felt surreal, yet exhilarating. Preparing for the summit was a whirlwind. Maya and Ethan worked around the clock to perfect their pitch, ensuring every detail was polished and compelling. They practiced tirelessly, rehearsing answers to potential questions and refining their slides until they were flawless. The night before their presentation, Maya lay awake, replaying scenarios in her mind. What if they stumbled? What if the audience didn't respond well? Sensing her anxiety, Ethan wrapped his arms around her and whispered, "You've already won. Just being here is proof of how far you've come." The next morning, standing on stage in front of hundreds of industry leaders, Maya felt a mix of nerves and excitement. As she spoke, her voice grew steadier, her passion shining through. With every word, she shared her vision for LearnLink, not just as a tool for education but as a movement to bridge gaps and empower marginalized communities. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Investors approached her afterward, eager to discuss partnerships and funding opportunities. It was a turning point, one that solidified LearnLink's place in the tech world. With newfound financial backing, Maya and Ethan embarked on an ambitious expansion plan. They hired a team of developers, marketers, and educators to enhance the platform's features and outreach efforts. They also launched a mentorship program connecting students with professionals in various fields, furthering their mission to create opportunities for underserved youth. The growth was exponential, and soon LearnLink became synonymous with innovation and social impact. Despite her skyrocketing success, Maya remained deeply connected to her roots. She often visited Mrs. Anderson, the teacher who had believed in her when few others did. Over cups of tea, they reminisced about Maya's early days in college and marveled at how much she had accomplished since then. Mrs. Anderson reminded Maya to stay humble and remember those who had helped her along the way. Success isn't just about achieving your goals, she said. It's about lifting others up as you climb. Inspired by this advice, Maya dedicated more time to giving back. Through Rise Together, her nonprofit organization, she organized workshops and seminars for foster children and adoptees, teaching them skills to navigate life's challenges. She also established scholarships for students from low-income backgrounds, enabling them to pursue higher education. Every initiative she launched stemmed from a desire to ensure that no one felt as alone or hopeless as she once had. As graduation approached, Maya reflected on how far she had come. From the girl tied to a pole in a cold backyard to a trailblazer in the tech industry, her journey was nothing short of extraordinary. She walked across the stage to receive her diploma, tears streaming down her face as the audience erupted in applause. Ethan stood among the crowd, beaming with pride. Afterward, they celebrated with friends and mentors, savoring the moment before diving into the next chapter of their lives. Looking ahead, Maya knew there would be more challenges to face. Scaling LearnLink globally, managing a growing team, and maintaining a healthy work-life balance wouldn't be easy. But she was ready. Armed with resilience, a supportive partner, and a clear sense of purpose, she was determined to continue breaking barriers and creating change. What the Carters had called failure had transformed into a legacy of triumph, a testament to the power of perseverance, love, and unwavering belief in oneself. And though her journey was far from over, Maya knew she had already proven that she was capable of achieving the impossible. With her college diploma in hand, and LearnLink gaining international recognition, Maya entered a new phase of her life, one marked by unprecedented opportunities and challenges. Her journey had taken her from the shadows of abuse to the spotlight of success, but she knew that true fulfillment lay not just in personal achievements but in making a lasting impact on the world. As LearnLink expanded globally, Maya found herself traveling frequently, meeting educators, policymakers, and entrepreneurs eager to collaborate on her mission to democratize education. Yet, amidst the whirlwind of meetings and accolades, she remained grounded, always remembering the little girl who had once been told she would never amount to anything. Ethan was her constant companion during these travels. Their partnership had evolved into something even stronger, a seamless blend of professional synergy and emotional support. Together, they navigated the complexities of running a rapidly growing company while maintaining their commitment to each other. Whether it was brainstorming ideas over late-night dinners or celebrating milestones with quiet moments of reflection, their bond continued to deepen. Ethan often joked that he had married a superhero, but Maya knew she wouldn't have gotten this far without him. He reminded her to celebrate small victories and to take breaks when the pressure became overwhelming. One of the most transformative experiences for Maya came when she was invited to speak at the United Nations as part of a global summit on education reform. Standing before an audience of world leaders, activists, and innovators, she felt a profound sense of responsibility. This wasn't just about sharing her story anymore. It was about advocating for systemic change. In her speech, Maya spoke passionately about the barriers faced by underserved communities, poverty, discrimination, lack of resources, and how technology could be leveraged to break those barriers. She challenged governments and organizations to invest in accessible, inclusive education systems that left no child behind. Her words resonated deeply with the audience. After the session, delegates approached her to discuss potential collaborations. One particularly memorable conversation was with a minister from a developing country who wanted to integrate LearnLink into their national curriculum. For Maya, this was more than just a business opportunity. It was validation that her work was truly making a difference. As she shook hands and exchanged contact information, she couldn't help but think of the Carters. How ironic it was that the people who had dismissed her as a failure were now witnessing her influence on a global stage. Back home, Maya's nonprofit organization, Rise Together, continued to thrive. Through partnerships with schools, community centers, and advocacy groups, the initiative reached thousands of young people across the country. Maya personally mentored several teenagers, offering guidance and encouragement as they navigated their own struggles. One of her mentees, a 16-year-old named Jamal, reminded her so much of herself at that age, bright, determined, but weighed down by circumstances beyond his control. When Jamal graduated high school with honors and secured a scholarship to college, Maya felt a surge of pride. It was moments like these that made all her hard work worthwhile. Despite her successes, Maya still grappled with the scars of her past. The memory of being tied to that pole haunted her, especially during quiet moments when the noise of her busy life faded away. Therapy became an essential part of her healing process. With the help of a compassionate counselor, she began unpacking the trauma she had endured and learning healthy ways to cope with it. She realized that forgiving the Carters didn't mean excusing their actions. It meant releasing the hold they had over her emotions. Forgiveness, she learned, was a gift she gave herself, a way to reclaim her power and move forward with peace. As her emotional wounds slowly healed, Maya decided to confront her adoptive parents directly. It wasn't an easy decision. Part of her feared reopening old wounds, while another part yearned for closure. After much deliberation, she wrote them a letter, a raw, honest account of how their treatment had shaped her life. She described the pain of feeling unloved and unwanted, the nights spent crying herself to sleep, and the relentless drive to prove them wrong. But she also acknowledged the strength she had gained from overcoming adversity. "You may have tried to break me," she wrote, "but you only made me stronger." To her surprise, the Carters responded. Their reply was brief and tinged with regret. They admitted they had made mistakes and expressed a desire to reconnect. Though skeptical, Maya agreed to meet them under strict conditions. The encounter was awkward and uncomfortable, filled with long silences and tentative apologies. While Maya appreciated their attempt at reconciliation, she remained cautious. She set clear boundaries, making it clear that she no longer sought their approval or affection. What mattered most was her ability to forgive, not for their sake, but for hers. This act of forgiveness marked a turning point in Maya's life. Letting go of the bitterness she had carried for so long freed her to fully embrace the present and future. She threw herself into her work with renewed energy, expanding LearnLink's reach and exploring new ways to innovate. Under her leadership, the platform introduced features like AI-driven personalized learning plans and virtual reality classrooms, revolutionizing the way students interacted with educational content. Critics hailed her as a visionary, someone who wasn't afraid to push boundaries and challenge conventions. Maya's personal life flourished alongside her professional achievements. She and Ethan got married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by loved ones. The wedding was intimate yet meaningful, reflecting their shared values of simplicity and authenticity. As they exchanged vows beneath a canopy of twinkling lights, Maya felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the life they had built together and for the journey that had brought them here. Friends and family marveled at how far she had come, often remarking on her resilience and grace. Even Mrs. Anderson, who had played such a pivotal role in Maya's early years, shed tears of joy as she watched her former student walk down the aisle. Marriage brought new dimensions to Maya and Ethan's relationship. They supported each other through the inevitable stresses of running a global company, finding solace in shared laughter and quiet moments of connection. They also started talking about starting a family, a prospect that filled Maya with both excitement and apprehension. Having grown up in a toxic household, she worried about whether she would be a good parent. But Ethan reassured her, pointing out all the qualities that made her extraordinary: her empathy, her determination, her capacity to love unconditionally. "You'll be an amazing mom," he said, his confidence unwavering. As Maya looked toward the future, She felt a deep sense of purpose. Her story was no longer defined by the pain of her past, but by the triumphs she had achieved and the lives she had touched. From the girl tied to a pole to the woman standing at the helm of a billion-dollar company, her journey was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. She had proven to herself and to the world that failure was not permanent, that every setback was an opportunity to grow, and that love and perseverance could overcome even the darkest of times. Maya's legacy extended beyond LearnLink and Rise Together. She inspired countless individuals through her speeches, writings, and public appearances. People from all walks of life reached out to thank her for giving them hope, for showing them that they too could rise above adversity. Some credited her with helping them pursue their dreams. Others said her story had saved them during their darkest hours. These messages reinforced Maya's belief that everyone has the potential to create change, no matter where they start. In the evenings, after a long day of work, Maya often sat by the window of her apartment, gazing at the city skyline. She thought about how far she had come, from the cold backyard where she had once been humiliated to the warm, loving home she now shared with Ethan. She thought about the Carters and the lessons they had inadvertently taught her. That love should never be conditional, that failure is a stepping stone to success, and that true strength lies in rising above cruelty with compassion. Most importantly, she thought about the future, a future filled with possibilities, challenges, and endless opportunities to make a difference. Maya knew her journey was far from over. There would be more obstacles to face, more dreams to chase, and more lives to touch. But she welcomed it all with open arms, knowing she had everything she needed to succeed: resilience, love, and an unshakable belief in herself. What the Carters had called failure had transformed into a legacy of triumph, a reminder that the human spirit is capable of achieving the impossible when fueled by hope, determination, and the courage to keep moving forward. Maya's life had transformed in ways she could never have imagined. From the girl who once stood tied to a pole, shivering in the cold and branded a failure, she had risen to become a symbol of resilience and triumph. Her journey was no longer just her own. It belonged to everyone who had ever felt unseen, unheard, or undervalued. As LearnLink continued to revolutionize education on a global scale, Maya found herself at the center of a movement that transcended technology and business. It was about humanity, connection, and the belief that every individual deserved access to opportunities that could change their lives. By now, Maya's story had reached far beyond headlines and interviews. Documentaries were made about her rise from adversity, books chronicled her entrepreneurial journey, and schools began teaching her story as an example of perseverance. Yet, despite the fame and accolades, Maya remained deeply connected to her roots. She often said, "I am not extraordinary because of what I've achieved. I am extraordinary because I refused to give up." These words resonated with millions around the world, inspiring them to confront their own struggles with renewed hope and determination. As her influence grew, so did her responsibilities. Maya traveled extensively, meeting with world leaders, educators, and activists to advocate for systemic changes in education. She addressed the United Nations again, this time leading panels on how governments could collaborate with private organizations to close the gap between privilege and poverty. Her voice carried weight, not just because of her success, but because of her authenticity. When she spoke, people listened, not because she was wealthy or powerful, but because she understood suffering and survival in a way few others could. One of the most impactful initiatives Maya spearheaded was the Global Education Equity Fund. This fund provided grants to grassroots organizations working to bring quality education to remote and underserved areas. Through partnerships with local leaders, the fund built schools, trained teachers, and supplied resources like laptops and internet access to communities that had been left behind. Maya personally visited many of these projects, rolling up her sleeves to help paint classrooms or distribute supplies. Seeing children light up with excitement over something as simple as a textbook reminded her why she had started this journey in the first place. Amidst her global endeavors, Maya also focused on nurturing her personal life. Motherhood became a reality when she and Ethan welcomed twins. a boy named Caleb and a girl named Amara. Becoming a parent brought a new depth to Maya's understanding of love and sacrifice. Holding her babies for the first time, she vowed to give them the unconditional support and encouragement she had lacked as a child. She filled their home with laughter, music, and stories of courage, ensuring they grew up knowing they were loved exactly as they were. Parenting wasn't without its challenges, especially given Maya's demanding schedule. Balancing work and family required constant effort and compromise. But Ethan was always there, sharing the load and reminding her that it was okay to prioritize her well-being. Together they created a nurturing environment where Caleb and Amara thrived. Watching her children explore the world with curiosity and joy filled Maya with immense pride. They were living proof that love and stability could break cycles of pain and create legacies of happiness. As the years passed, Maya's impact only deepened. LearnLink evolved into one of the largest educational platforms in the world, reaching millions of students across continents. Its success allowed Maya to expand Rise Together's reach, funding scholarships for thousands of young people who might otherwise have been denied an education. She also launched a mentorship program connecting successful professionals with aspiring youth, creating pathways for dreams to become realities. Every initiative bore the hallmark of Maya's philosophy: empowerment through action. Despite her monumental achievements, Maya never lost sight of the importance of humility. She often returned to her hometown, visiting the small community center, where Mrs. Anderson had first encouraged her to dream big. There, she mentored teenagers facing hardships similar to those she had endured. She shared her story openly, emphasizing that success wasn't about erasing your past, but using it as fuel to build a better future. Many of these young people went on to achieve incredible things, crediting Maya with helping them see their potential. Inevitably, Maya's path crossed with her adoptive parents again. One day, she received a letter from them expressing regret for their actions and admiration for everything she had accomplished. Though Maya had already forgiven them in her heart, reading their words stirred complex emotions. She decided to meet them one last time, bringing Ethan along for support. The encounter was bittersweet. While the Carters seemed genuinely remorseful, Maya realized they would never fully understand the depth of the pain they had caused. Still, she thanked them for showing her the kind of person she didn't want to be, and for inadvertently pushing her toward greatness. That meeting marked the final chapter in Maya's reconciliation with her past. She walked away feeling lighter, unburdened by anger or resentment. The Carters' cruelty had shaped her, yes, but it hadn't defined her. Instead, it had ignited a fire within her, a drive to prove that love and kindness could conquer hatred and neglect. By choosing forgiveness, Maya had taken back control of her narrative, transforming a story of victimhood into one of victory. Now in her 40s, Maya looked back on her journey with awe and gratitude. She had built a life filled with purpose, love, and meaning. Her marriage to Ethan remained strong, a partnership rooted in mutual respect and shared dreams. Her children were growing into compassionate, confident individuals, eager to make their mark on the world. And her work, both through LearnLink and Rise Together, continued to touch countless lives, breaking barriers and opening doors for generations to come. On quiet evenings, Maya liked to sit outside under the stars, reflecting on how far she had come. She thought about the little girl who had once cried alone in a dark backyard, wondering if she would ever escape the Carters' shadow. That girl was still part of her, but she had grown into someone stronger, wiser, and infinitely more resilient. Maya smiled as she realized that everything she had endured, the pain, the struggle, the sacrifices, had led her here, to this moment of peace and fulfillment. Her legacy was secure, not because of the billions in her bank account or the awards lining her office walls, but because of the lives she had touched. Thousands of students had graduated thanks to LearnLink. Countless young people had pursued their dreams thanks to Rise Together. And somewhere out there, another Maya, a scared, lonely child, desperate for hope, was finding inspiration in her story. That knowledge brought Maya immeasurable joy. As she gazed at the night sky, Maya whispered a silent thank you to Mrs. Anderson who had believed in her, to Ethan, who had stood by her side, to her children, who reminded her daily of life's beauty, and even to the Carters, whose cruelty had unknowingly set her on this path. Every piece of her journey, no matter how painful, had contributed to the masterpiece of her life. Maya knew her work was far from over. There were still battles to fight, injustices to address, and dreams to nurture, but she faced the future with unwavering optimism, knowing she had the strength to overcome whatever lay ahead. What the Carters had called failure had blossomed into a legacy of triumph, a testament to the power of resilience, forgiveness, and the unyielding human spirit. And as long as there were people in need of hope, Maya would continue to shine, her light, proving that even in the darkest moments greatness can emerge from adversity.